We're live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film that we are going to be discussing. This is one of my second choice in my birthday picks. It is none other than Scott Wheeler's 2016 film, Attack of the Killer Donuts.
Before Dave gets into this, though, let's all open our mics and give him a little round of applause for being our fearless leader and always giving us good movies. Come on, get in there.
Yes.
Round of applause for Dave, guys. Come on.
Little golf clap.
Yeah. You're letting us do our whole year of anniversary picks and us having our own months. And, really, we should be celebrating you, man, because if it wasn't for you, none of us would be here today. So thank you, Dave, for everything that you do and for giving us a platform to do this shit. So one more round of applause for David Strike. Come on, motherfuckers. Get it. I'll do it by myself, but it's less awkward if you join. There you go.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Wheeler is no
he doesn't know how to
stranger to B movies. He's directed Journey to the Center of the Earth and Transmorphers with Asylum Films, and I think they were also Sci-Fi Channel movies for a time, because Asylum kind of works single-handedly with that. He also did Avalanche Sharks and Sinkhole, and in between he kind of did some like National Lampoon like shit called MILF and Celebrity Sex Tape.
Celebrity Sex Tape is great.
Yeah, a past friend of ours who passed away in 2020. One of his favorite films was Avalanche Shark. He used to tell us about it.
But in any case, let us see what IMDb says about Attack of the Killer Donuts. A chemical accident turns ordinary donuts into bloodthirsty killers. Very short and sweet. So let's get first impressions.
Kind of like a donut.
How about starting with you, Dustin? Was this a first-time watch for you?
Well, I had never heard of this before, so of course it was a first-time watch. This thing was really bizarre. Like, I was expecting sort of an Attack of the Killer Tomatoes kind of spoof thing, and that's pretty much what we got. It was... how do I put this delicately? A little bit cheaper than I thought it would be. But it wasn't... I've seen worse movies.
Okay. Anything else for your first impressions?
I kind of had to multitask while this was on, so I sort of wish I'd been able to pay a bit more attention. But I think I got the gist of it.
Yeah, it's critters with donuts, bud. I think you got it.
Critters with Minions vibes and
Gremlins.
Yeah,
Gremlins.
It's very intentionally being all those things and also donuts.
But let's go over to Tammy. Was this a first time watch for you?
Yes.
And what was
stupid? I can't believe this is what people think of.
Only hearing good things so far. Continue.
I think they could put their mind to a lot better movies than this.
But the point is, they didn't for us, Tammy. Okay.
So I'm thinking I'm actually watching this, but not in the same way as I was thinking that last week. So.
Okay. What about you, Forrest? Was this a first time watch for you?
No. So actually, I remember discovering this movie on Amazon Prime a few years ago, and I put it in my on my watch list because Amazon Prime is a treasure trove of schlock and B movie and
It really is.
cheesy greatness.
A lot of Kurt Seaver movies that aren't available anywhere else are on there, like Blood Fart Lake, Ski.
Well, actually, Blood Fart Lake, though, both of those are actually.
Oh man, now they got the Friday the 12th thing going.
Friday the 12th.
What a dignified title.
Well, Saturday the 14th.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, yeah, for me, the only thing that could scare me more than a killer, I'll say right now, first of all, the only thing that could scare me more than a killer donut is diabetes. But or scare me. Actually, the only thing. I mean, this movie. I mean, I love this. I think this movie is great. It's good cheese. Good sugary sweet. But I would say the only thing that could scare me more than a killer donut from eating donuts than a donut with sharp teeth is probably diabetes. But
well, but at least he got to be on the same team as Wilford fucking Brimley if he got diabetes back then. So there's that.
But no, I think this is a lot of fun.
Fine mustache too, Jake. You'd like him.
Oh, I know Mr. Brimley. Yes,
I'm sure
him and his talks about diabetes.
The
reputation
of his mustache preceded him.
Anyway, yeah, this is one of those movies that I would probably be flipping through Amazon Prime at night, at 2 a.m. when I was like desperate to find something quick and stupid to watch, and definitely
one.
Definitely, a lot of fun. If you got drink some cheap Pilsner and a glazed donut from your neighborhood 7-Eleven. I love like the cheesy special effects, like the teeth on the donuts. That was really well done. Like some good cheesy death, a lot of good cheesy deaths and gore. Although I think the main protagonist, the actress playing the main protagonist, the hero's mom, what was her name? But I felt
She's a MILF.
Yes, she is a MILF. But at the same time, I don't know. I feel like she seemed like she was more. She seemed like more like she should have been Johnny. That was the main character's name. Justin Ray. She seemed more like she should have been Justin Ray's older sister than his mother.
Yeah, exactly. I said mother. What? Like I didn't look old enough.
Yeah.
Dude, that's just because we're used to seeing movies like this where they cast like 40-year-olds to play fucking 19-year-olds, like she for sure should have been his mom, realistically, and I think that's sort of one of the subtle jokes of this movie is they have her as like the sexy mom because most kids that are 16 have a mom that's like 40 and she's probably could still be pretty hot,
Yeah, and also the wacky mad scientist uncle who's experimenting.
You got Christopher Lloyd.
I love the uncle.
He was great.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this movie is very tropey, but at the same time, it relishes in it. It embraces it.
It's intentionally tropey.
And it's unapologetic, and they unapologetically have fun with it.
You can tell that they're having fun with the movie as they're going along, even in its stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
But going onwards, I think let's go with Jake. Was this a first time watch for you?
This was definitely a first-time watch. I had never heard of this movie before you suggested it, and I will admit, as with many of your more off-the-wall suggestions, it was followed by a groan and a facepalm, and oh my dear God, what are we going to be watching now? But I will admit, this one, yes, it definitely reminded me of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and Return of the Killer Tomatoes. But it also gave off strong vibes of Killer Rack, and we were talking, and actually in the last discussion I mentioned Briscoe County. That one, of course, had John Astin, who played Professor Gangrene in a wild, crazy Christopher Lloyd type role. But I got to say, like, that would have been one of the only things that would have made this movie just absolutely off the charts incredible. Would have been if they had found some way to work in John Astin, Lloyd Kaufman, and Wilford Brimley into the cast. If they had somehow, that would just been
also, I would say also maybe Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, since
it might be one of the most epic B movies ever.
Christopher Lloyd has been the scientist.
Right. Well, I mean, the guy doing that part was Michael Swan. He was pretty good as Uncle
He was
Luther.
okay. I think better.
Which I gotta wonder if that's a reference to the Luther Burger or whatever. It probably is.
I feel like it has to be.
I think so.
It's I feel that was pretty good. But actually, it was our local supplier of the Luther Burger. I went and picked up a small box of donuts to prepare for this, and so had my own little
Forrest just got some
diabetes.
duck donut up in Canada.
Duck donuts, good stuff.
Actually, that Duck Donuts is right by my apartment.
Oh
I was
wow!
gonna say Duck Donuts is really good. I mean, that's an American
we
one.
had some.
Yeah,
we had
Brandon
some
brought
when we
it
were
up
in
in the
Hatteras,
last
but
episode we did together, so I figured we should bring it up here and make it a trifecta.
Although while I was in Canada this past weekend, I did have a glazed donut from Tim Hortons.
But
I don't know how I didn't recommend ketchup chips to you while you're up there, dude.
I'm not a ketchup person anyway, so
ketchup chips don't taste like ketchup, though. They taste like ketchup chips.
Yeah.
I had plenty of poutine though.
You got
poutine. You gotta go do that.
Next time, though, ketchup chips, old Dutch ketchup chips. I will literally pay you to ship those to me.
Anyway,
keep a couple bags for yourself.
I will say this one did a fine job of hitting the schlocky B movie feel. It did go a little heavy into the gross out. Literally, fart humor was a big part of it. It did go a little heavy into that, and there was some gore, but luckily not too much, and I didn't mind the amount that I had to put up with, so that was good. That was a point with these kind of comedies. If they lean more into comedy, it tends to work better, which is again one of the things that has in common with Killer Tomatoes and Killer Rack for that matter. And then and I just got to finish with Justin Ray is the main guy. He was likable. He was a fun guy. And Kayla Compton is his coworker / longtime, the childhood friend. Michelle, pretty. I like a coworker like that. I mean, let's just put it that way.
Damn.
And I didn't realize. Apparently, she has a large supporting role on Flash, but I haven't gotten that far into the series, so I haven't gotten to see it.
Because I saw her, I was like,
you always have coworkers like that too when you're like in a relationship.
Right.
I had a coworker like that once, but it was like I'm with this chick that I'm pretty sure is using me for a place to stay and money, but we've been together for like 7 years, so I'm pretty much cucked down to that. And I should have taken the pizza girl.
But one last weird thought on this one though is we were talking before we rolled about our low budget features because we're gearing up for the Versus Awards and trying to find some low budget films, and I have so far only watched 3 that supposedly qualify, and one of them
We've got a few for you to peruse.
Well, one of them is right on the margin. Because it's supposedly budgeted at $1 million even, and that's a movie called Red Rocket, and that one also took place in a little podunk town, donut shop, and really cute girl behind the counter, and otherwise the 2 films couldn't be any more different. But just the idea that I ended up watching 2 movies about donut shops like within a week is pretty hilarious. It's like, where are the odds?
It's a weird, strange fucking coincidence for sure.
Coincidence? I think not.
Is that it on your first impression then, Jake?
Indeed. Generally
Alrighty.
pleasant.
Heading over to you, Mo. Is
I think
this
it's
the first time
Kroll,
watch for
actually.
you?
Is next.
Oh, let's go with Kroll then. Kroll, was this a first time watch with for you?
Yep, never heard of it until you mentioned it. Thought maybe it might be about the same people that Attack of the Killer Tomatoes or something, because it definitely sounded like it. Yeah, it was interesting. There was definitely some funny scenes. Like one scene in particular that was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I definitely love the fact that his best friend is she's on The Flash, and she's a great character on there, great actress, and she's hot. I mean the blonde chick, she was okay, but I mean right off the bat she had an attitude, and of course you could tell that she was just using them anyways. But everything about the friend was way better. Anyways, I mean, the blonde looked okay, but she had everything where it counts, and plus she seemed smarter and she was funnier, and she already liked him, so it was definitely blind with that. I mean, I knew right off the bat before I even started watching it. As soon as his mother was like, "Why don't you go with Bully?" He's like, "Oh, we're just friends." I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna end up with her."
Yeah. She's too hot not to. I mean,
that was even before I saw her.
If I had a coworker like that, I'd have fucking left that chick for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
but it wasn't just they were coworkers; they were friends for 4th grade. So she's been around him the whole time.
True. So it adds that awkwardness of like maybe I shouldn't because we've been friends for so long.
But then there's the damn.
She's just so fucking hot, dude.
Like damn, I just want to bang her. Like, I love when they're in bed and they're like kind of discussing like, "Where are we at? You my girlfriend?" Whatever. It's just
alrighty. Is that the end of your first impression then?
Yes.
Alrighty. Let's go over to Mo. Was this a first time watch for you?
It was, and I really enjoyed it, dude. This is a good example of like safe B movie shit. I knew exactly what you were doing when you suggested this, because it's it's weird and bizarre enough to be the type of shit we normally do, but it's polished enough that these guys might like it, and it is the perfect choice, because it's kind of goofy, but it also touches in on shit that all of us have nostalgia for, like for example, Back to the Future or The Goonies, or like especially
Gremlins.
Like Gremlins, yeah. The when you see that opening shot of the town, it's like it clearly establishes the tone of the movie.
I don't know. It's kind of
and then it's basically Gremlins, but with like awesome dumb shit.
Yep, Gremlins and Critters.
It's those two exactly, Forrest, combined, and then filtered through like dumb B movie shit. But done with enough of a budget that you guys can enjoy it, because definitely there was some money spent on this. It wasn't. It's not a micro budget movie by any stretch of the words. It almost could be one, but there's too much CGI in it for them to have afforded that on a micro budget level. It's just the way that it is, So. I don't know. I like it. It's kind of a good example of a more mainstream indie movie that pretends to be something it's not. It's pretending to be like kind of a micro budget movie like that, but it's doing such a good job of it that you almost feel like they're tributing that stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like it's not at all meant to be like, oh, micro budget movies are shit. It's meant to be, a semi-established B movie troupe doing their version of that shit, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I like it quite a bit.
Okay. heading over to you, Brandon. Was this a first time watch for you?
No, and it's definitely a step up from Salo, but that's not really saying much. I really like this film. It was kind of like a combination of You Can't Rent Here Anymore and Lamageddon, with a little bit of Reanimator and just a touch of Trauma to make it all work together for a beautiful schlock fest. I can still I still laugh seeing those animated donuts
Perfectly
bouncing
put,
around like that. Those bouncing donuts still crack me up when I see that animation. So yes, that's my first impression. Fun.
Okay, and I think I downloaded this movie first and ended up watching it, and I loved every minute of it at the time. So I kept it to myself for the time being, and then lo and behold, a buddy of mine had a copy of it, and I was like, "Sweet, I'll buy it from him." And ended up getting it for myself, and well, my birthday choices came up, and I was like, you know what? I'll do this like somewhat dramatic film, but then I'll end it with a bang with this one, and I'll call it Square. So I think for having the serious tone movie first, this one had just enough bounce in the dough to make it happen. So, but in any case,
you fooled us all, Dave. That's a super good joke.
But in any case, let's go into the plot here. So, we have Justin Ray and Kayla Compton playing Johnny Wentworth and Michelle Kester, who are two co-workers who work in a place called Dandy Donuts. And we get this beginning here where Johnny wakes up and he has a breakfast of bacon from like this really hot looking mom that he has.
That
here.
you feel like is like his stepmom that wants to fuck him for the first couple of minutes, but then you eventually realize it's his actual mom, which makes it even more uncomfortable.
He's definitely got mom issues, though.
But you get that level of discomfort back again later when his friend, who looks like Jared from Subway, shows up on the doorstep, and she's clearly ready to.
Yeah, dude, he has a fucking one of those poles with the red flag on it on his bike, and his mom clearly fucks the kid, even though
he's like a super fucking nerd, like.
And then he comes to the donut shop later, and he's like, "Hey,
like,
what's up, man? Like, I just fucked your mom with the red flag on my bike."
And the owner of the donut shop turns around and says, "Who the fuck are you?" I'm Johnny's best friend. Since when? Or the uncle did the same thing. Who are you?
I'm here every night. I never seen you before.
Just some fucking kid, you know.
Apparently very forgettable to everybody but his mother.
Well, and Johnny, I guess, has a girlfriend at the beginning of the, at least
imaginary
what he thinks is a girlfriend. Well, he finds that out later. But
that's what he calls it.
How the fuck do you not know when you're asking your mother for like money like every single time?
See, I never had the asking my mom for money thing, but I definitely had that girlfriend where I was like, this bitch is only around when I'm giving her cash, you know. When I'm giving her cash or like drugs, basically.
I've never had that.
So I've definitely had chicks like that where it was like, you got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Well, people will overlook the strangest things if they feel like they have a reason to.
Oh yeah,
but she did have.
I've had girls like that, like trip out and be like, "Well, what are these guys gonna think?" And it was sort of like if I was just laying here in front of you guys, like these guys are used to me. They don't give a shit. Yeah. Like
She
they're not gonna
did
say
have that
anything
whole
because they don't care. Yeah. So just leave.
She did have Veronica did have that whole cheerleader jive down to a T. You know, that. Oh my god! I just broke a nail. Kind of.
I've had chicks like that, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've banged chicks like that, but yeah, they were gone after a couple of sessions. You know what I mean? It was like I wasn't keeping them around long enough where they even would think that they could be entitled to some shit like that. It was just like, all right, I'll foot the bill tonight and tomorrow night, and then you're gone, kind of thing. So.
I love that there's a mad scientist uncle living downstairs in the basement. It's just
I wish
it's just hilarious, and the fact that he basically borrowed, in quotations, the guy's iPad essentially to do his calculations.
Right.
I love that. That's a continued thing they fight over during the movie too. Like he comes to his school together.
Well, and
I don't know why this didn't occur to me before, but he also has to be a reference to Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I mean, Rick and Morty had seen this movie because, dude, there's so much.
I'm thinking more of a combination of Doc Brown and Reanimator.
Well, I mean,
the Reanimator thing is super prevalent, dude. No, I love the Reanimator references, and it's the best.
I think the idea of like the live-in uncle could be a direct reference there, because I mean, you know, it's obviously like Rick and Morty's obviously a Back to the Future on acid thing, but basically.
Well, Uncle Luther actually has played in various TV episodes over the years, but he was on the TV miniseries from the 80s as Officer Bob Briggs. And I think that he was also on one of the Friday the 13th.
I feel like you're right. Yeah,
Thomas C. Thomas Howell.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was in there too.
Howell's, another dude worthy of mentioning in his own regard, but I don't know. I think everybody that's probably on this was on some TV shit.
But in any case, we get this whole scientific experiment where he thinks he's found like this miraculous thing where he's evidently got this dead hamster that he rejuvenates, and it completely escapes him. And Johnny comes down for his iPad, grabs it, and gets in his black.
Well, he ends up coming basically to the donut place later looking for the iPad, and his specimen that he had in his pocket ends up just going into like
during the fight
donut, juice or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically
so all the donuts that they're producing are tainted with this,
Now that fight was just hilarious.
Yeah, it was great.
But
the two employees.
Okay. I love how when he rips the one dude's toupee off, it's like the end of his powers. Like he can't fight anymore. Pretty much.
Is it just to me, or was there like that expectation because the like mutant hamster bit him that he was going to turn into a zombie or something?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna.
Which he never did.
I was expecting him to like have some kind
and
of.
what's funny is I thought I remembered the first time around at the end of the movie that he actually did in fact turn into some rampant zombie.
That kind of felt
thing,
similar too, but I think we're thinking of a different trauma movie or something.
I think I was, but regardless,
I thought the same thing. I was like, I swear I remember this movie now. Yeah, and then it was like, no, I guess I don't. Yeah.
But the first customer that they end up having is this. I think she's a librarian.
Yeah, something like that.
Or teacher or something like that.
The Fruit Loop that wants to make love to her door?
Yeah. She was fun.
The cat lady.
I think was it Mrs. Scolari?
Yeah, something like that.
I believe so.
Mrs. S for short or something like that. But she was entertaining. I mean, she came in for something for one donut.
Yeah, she's on a diet and today's her cheat day.
And they give her a whole fucking box.
Not gonna lie, dude, that
Because
lady was
so
super
good.
fucking sexy. Like, I loved everything about it.
Well, the homeless dude who spent all his time there seemed to think so.
That's that type of lady I hope talks to me on a ring cam when I'm dropping off something, and it's like, yes, I will come inside. Let me kick off my shoes. You know, definitely down for that.
Yeah, that relatively neighborly lady that has a house full of cats, but you know she's fucking hot.
You know those girls are the freakiest, bro. Like, I'm gonna be in there like caught in some spider's web or some shit like that. You know.
Yeah. Well, I love how she has an animatronic cat. I think a couple weeks ago we got into talking about Salem. Oh, it was the Kiki's talk. I think it was. Well, we got to talking about Salem. This cat reminded me of that. You know, I love what did I catch the name right that she called her cat Whiskers McFur?
Yeah.
I'm like,
it was hilarious too, the way it meowed because of the cheap animatronic.
Right.
Great.
Which Salem? The one? Which show?
No, let's not get sidetracked again. We were talking about Salem from Sabrina's the Teenage Witch, but the cat in this one was not Salem.
Smart ass cat.
I know that there's two Sabrina shows, so that's which one show.
The one we're all thinking of, the 90s one, right?
Again, I was thinking of both shows. That's why I asked.
What's the other show?
There's a new one. Was it the Chilling Adventures? Yeah, I still haven't seen that.
That's never... I have not seen that.
It's on.
I doubt they used. I doubt they used a cheap animatronic cat for that one though.
Right.
Be funny if they did, though.
I thought it was funny that they used one here. They couldn't get a real cat just for that one scene.
Yeah, really.
Definitely, probably not one trained enough. But to be honest, before
cats
my
don't
grandmother,
listen to you. You pretty much listen to cats.
I was just saying, having a humane society it's pretty expensive.
Before my grandmother died, we actually got her one exactly like that. So, so she really thought that the thing was real. So, some people you cool.
So with those donuts, when they so that's one thing. Okay, so was it first the donuts attacking her, or was the first thing when the cops showed up with the guy?
Well, let's get into that in the discussion. Are we doing this or what?
Yeah. So so apparently the second customer was in fact these couple of cops who end up having a perp in the back seat. That
I feel like that's skipping way ahead.
No, this is before the fight scene. This is before the fight that causes the whole
David's
mishap. So the two cops, the one really wants to stop for donuts, so they go in for their free donuts. They get the last suds of the coffee, which they don't know it, but you're looking at this coffee pot and looking like that shouldn't really be served.
Suds nothing. You're talking about like a sludge.
Gross.
But yeah. that was, and they get a box of donuts too, which they go back in their cop car, and I guess the perp whines about getting a donut, and he's like, "You're not gonna let him have a donut?" I don't know. I'm kind of not used to like cops like actually giving like free food to the perp in the back seat. Normally, they just cuff you and take you to the station. But then again, this is a small town, or it seems like it's a small town.
A small town, obviously L.A. and some scenes.
And they have nothing better to do than just be friendly with the people that they pick up in their back seat. So, I guess they share their donuts.
Dude. I mean, when you live in a small town, I live in a small town, and definitely, like, I've dealt with a lot of cops over the years. You know, been arrested by several for varying things. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's cops exist. Yeah,
but
it's just how you deal with them, I guess.
Yep. So after this particular scene, we then get three fellas who end up strolling into the donut shop, and they're looking for their free donuts because they've heard about free donuts.
And they get a bit rapey.
And
Yeah.
who wouldn't go looking for them? You know, that does bring up a good question. How many donuts were actually sold during the course of this movie?
Not many.
Not many.
Yeah, that store would be out of business before the end of the day.
The lady bought like one donut. The lady bought a donut, got a dozen. The cops didn't buy any. The bum came in and said put her on his tab. The friend came in and didn't buy nothing. I don't think he got any free ones either. The rival came in and gave Michelle an orgasm with his donut.
I love that guy.
He was given a donut.
Actually,
a douche nut.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually don't, I think, make any profit off of their donuts.
Just the
in
one.
whole
Just
movie.
that one woman bought one donut but got a dozen. But that was the only profit they got. And then, you know.
that scene with the rival actually feels straight out of Evil Bong out of the later.
Oh, wait. And then he gives donuts and free drinks to the three dickheads. So
yeah, he's
he's lost a ton of money.
That dude's just seedy enough that he looks like he would have like grown a pot plant and like brought it.
I love when he gets his wig ripped off in that fight, and he's like that. You can tell that's the moment where he drew the line, and he's like, "I get assaulted," and you just stand there, you know, like that's where he felt like he was assaulted was when
and then he walks over, takes a drink out of one of the drinks that is in the fridge.
He puts it back, and she's like, "I leave that there." I love that part.
I do like later when the three punks come in, and one of them, the one grabbed the same drink that the boss had drunk out of, and I was like, I was like, good, serves him right.
It does.
But yeah, like that one competitor, that one, you know, like before he even comes in, I think it's Michelle's like, you smell patchouli? And I was like,
yeah.
And then he comes strolling in.
The way he keeps wafting his hair. I
swear he looks like a runty Wahlberg trying his best to imitate Johnny Depp on a bad day. I mean,
I love how Michelle
You're not wrong at all.
Takes his name because it's Conrad and turns it into
Connie.
Connie, and then his friends start calling him Connie.
Oh yeah, those guys.
Oh man, she's dissing you. You got to come back. You know,
this bitch is calling doing this. What'd you call her?
And then, of course, Johnny comes out and joins the
See,
fray.
those
And,
types
Oh,
of
are you-
dudes,
are you
I'd have just
man?
been like waiting for the moment to punch him in the throat, like where it would have looked like we were doing something else on camera. You know, it's like I'll just punch him in the throat as soon as he say do it. I'll just be like, bam, yeah, and then we can just walk him out and make it look like he choked on something. Yeah. And I'll just tell him right there in his ear, like, you say anything else, I'm gonna fucking punch you so hard. Yeah.
well,
and then he's just gonna walk off like, all right. Yeah.
because
He doesn't want to get hit like that hard on camera. So just get out. Just go.
The owner comes out, sees that this fight has entailed, and he's all about like apologizing to the customers, and he realizes that his employees have pretty much started the fight. So he
Yet he had a fight just a little earlier with the uncle for no reason. So
yeah. So he fires Michelle, and Johnny just quits.
quits over it.
Yeah, but no one's
over
firing
it.
Mosley, baby. That's what you. All right, shift manager. What are you trying to say, Dave? Okay. No, seriously. What are you trying to say, bro? Like, you don't think we run these shifts well enough for you? What are you trying to say?
But in any case,
Listen to him nervously laughing. It's not all right with me, Dave. I'm sorry.
But we have the two employees end up taking. He takes her home, and then of course they have their little moment where they're about to kiss, and then of course the goopy ass glass. A glass-haired friend who is obviously banging his mother.
Yeah, for sure.
His scooter.
He's nice enough to tell her.
His scooter isn't working, so he ends up going with them. They
and their black buggy.
Dave, if your scooter ever isn't working, you have my permission to bang my mom. She hasn't seen action in a long time. So just treat her right, okay? You know, be romantic about it. You can do whatever you want.
So when they're going over and they go over to investigate the woman who got the one donut, out of curiosity, now when the donut's killed, they killed her before that scene, I think. Yeah, that's when they start showing them. They do this animations, computer animation for the donuts where they're bouncing, and I don't know why, but that still cracks me up every time.
I love it.
It just looks like somebody then just throws donuts at her, and she ends up dying.
Yep.
I wonder what this film would look like if everything was on strings.
Daddy would like some sausage.
Yeah. But in any case, they show up at her house.
Just like some sausage.
They realize that they can't get in at first, so she goes around and up and down and through the house. She comes across the dead body of the lady and freaks out when she sees the donuts. Meanwhile, the boys are in front and they're trying. I love this moment for some reason. He throws like several things at the glass and it doesn't break, and it bounces right back in his friend, and he's about to pick up the brick, and he's like, "Wait a minute!" And he goes up to the front door, and it literally just like gives way underneath his hand. You know,
that was some impressive glass. I got to admit,
that was hilarious.
You forgot to mention why they went to the lady's house to check on her, because they came across the guys that were attacked by the donuts, and then the donuts started.
Actually, they ran over the perp. Yeah, they ran over the perp first.
He was infected by the donuts.
He shit himself.
Because it became a donut zombie that they had.
Yeah.
The most disgusting thing about the movie was
Yeah, it totally was.
zombie.
That was pretty disgusting, but
Yeah, his guts came out his back end.
And of course the donuts that they were traveling with killed the police officers that he was traveling with.
Yep. And
no, they weren't killed yet.
you do have to while she is going through the house, you've got that nosy neighbor with his somewhat girlfriend that seems to be mistakenly dressing up as things that for their sex shit that he keeps telling her, no, it is not that night. No, it is not that night.
That was nice.
Well,
that's when the donuts hit her in the ears. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole buns thing. Tammy thought it was kind of funny that I didn't get the fact that they were buns at first.
Honestly, I didn't.
That's pretty fun.
And
Yeah, it was a Princess Leia moment. You didn't catch that, girl?
No,
Yeah,
I
it was
didn't.
fun.
well, if you look at Hardware Wars, she's got 2 cinnamon buns stapled to the side of her head for that part.
But in any case, I just think it's kind of hilarious because there's always a nosy neighbor who's always who's always like got binoculars. You always think that there's someone always
Yeah.
Like if you're in an apartment building, there's always someone looking to get you in trouble.
There is.
They've either got a telescope or binoculars, and they got that phone ready at will.
Well, he didn't have the phone ready because he had to ask his wife, call the police.
But anyways, he thought that the kids were up to no good. Cops arrive. She's dangling from the window.
Put your hands up.
They don't even recognize her. She falls flat on her ass, and she
don't move. Put your hands up and don't move. Like, don't worry, the ground broke my fall. Like, then the other cop fucking realized, oh, that's the girl from the donut shop.
Meanwhile,
and then the kids come out and he shoots them.
Well,
what are you shooting the kids for? He had a knife.
We do have to talk. We do have to talk about the donuts dance routine. Like a little bit before that because that was hilarious to me. When they came straight face to face with the donuts and they moved side to side a little bit, and then of course they had a food fight in the kitchen. Which
she runs upstairs and just puts the chair against the door and locks them out and the donuts out.
But yeah, they come out and they're like, "Put your weapons down." And meanwhile, while they're talking to the kids, the donuts are coming out the back and stealing the cop car.
That was hilarious when them driving. That was
great.
That was not the scene I was talking about, but that was pretty funny.
Anyways, it just kind of gets madcap from there because they end up running into their uncle somewhere along the way, and
they realize he's the one that caused the whole thing.
Yeah, and I love how they give them a moment to like really show like once they one grabs a hockey stick, one grabs a super soaker. They the stuff looks like Pepto-Bismol.
Don't forget that asshole guy in the imaginary girlfriend gets hit by the gets killed by the cop donuts. The cop donuts pull up and she's like, "What?" And he gets attacked. She's strange, and she just runs around the car. Great. She just runs around the car. She doesn't even try to run away. She runs around the car. I'm like, stupid blonde.
Well,
That was great.
the uncle
It was.
had created a serum supposedly to reverse it. Of course, reverse it means they turn back to normal, them explode. But,
Right.
you know.
Oh yeah, the greatest cure of all time for this, and he thinks he's a genius for it.
Yeah.
But they're ready to use it no matter what because it'll at least effectively kill them.
Well, they're not
But-
sure, but because he thinks you have to inject it, and the guy's like, but it's a donut. It's been a dough. He should be able to spray it. And then they're like, you don't really know, do you? And he's like, no.
Well, and I love how the nerdy kid is the one that comes up
That's
with
what I'm
the
saying.
whole
The
hive
nerdy
thing.
kid
Like
figured it out.
whenever you want to get at these kind of things, you got to go back to the hive, to its source, the donut shop. So they all end up going to the donut shop. The homeless man ends up joining them in the foray, and this scene is just hilarious because they're all like they're all fighting these donuts and we do get that moment where the owner of the place, he's like trying to watch something on his computer,
Some porn.
and
Yeah.
and he gets distracted, and all the donuts just look at him, like turn around and look at him, and you know that he's gonna die.
Yeah.
But
They should have showed it. He was just a greasy
I don't
bastard.
think they had the budget. They already wasted it all.
He was just a greasy bastard. We wanted to see it.
I mean, they spent most of it on that explosion, probably.
We kind of okay. So I said that that guy got attacked by the donut, but it was a cruller and it stuck to his forehead, and it looked like a fucking dildo. And that is the scene that I just fucking cracked up laughing.
oh,
It was
the
so fucking
eclair or something like that went through his forehead.
It was a cruller.
Oh.
And it was stuck to his forehead, and it looked like a fucking dildo stuck to his forehead.
Yes, it crullers.
But in any case, so I believe at the end of it all, the place ends up exploding, and
He blows it up.
yeah,
The character blows it up. And of course, they're like, well, how are we going to survive? And then they find this, like, I don't know, fucking little area or something. Of course, they kiss.
well,
too.
yeah, and Josh has this moment of revelation that oh my god, my girlfriend's not my girlfriend.
My girlfriend's not my girlfriend.
She's
my
finally
my best friend fucking my mother.
she finally just kisses him just to shut his ass up.
Well, he's like, oh yeah, just open the door and let them eat me because and then she's like, just I'd rather have you alive, and kisses. I'd rather have you alive. And it's like both time. I mean, I knew that was gonna happen. I knew she was gonna kiss him right then.
Oh, the plot's not that complex on this end.
Yeah, you can easily figure out what's gonna happen.
In any case, you see in the next scene after the explosion, he wakes up with her next to him, and they have this whole lovey-dovey moment. And the mom walks in, because evidently he hadn't cut the grass yet, and he was, and then of course she pops out, and she's like, "Hey, Mrs. Whatever." And she's like, oh, hi, Michelle.
But you forgot the scene when she slaps him in the face. Like, what that's for? She's forever dating Victoria. That was hilarious.
But yeah, so yeah. At the end of everything, what did y'all think about the production?
Oh, cheap as heck, but that's okay. That
It
sort of
was
thing.
cheap fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it
Fun,
Mhm.
yeah.
inspirational for
Kind of a budget. Like it was well put together to a degree that I did not expect.
Yeah, I
Right.
think
The CGI was actually surprising that they had it in this, and it actually came across pretty well for CGI being used in the movie with cheap effects.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty. I mean,
Yeah.
it's. I mean, it is still cheesy. Looks cheesy looking, but it works. It works here.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was just the right level of, like, if they had gone too slick with the CG,
It wouldn't
it
work.
would have lost some of that campiness that we, but some of the stuff, like someone mentioned at some point, it looked like donuts are just getting thrown at people. And that was a regular occurrence in some of the bigger melees. And that just kind of added to the overall vibe, I think.
Well, that was
in
very
the
Killer
donut shop, they
Tomatoes.
looked like they were flying. They're like fucking flying donuts.
That was very Attack of the Killer Tomatoes right there with the thrown donut.
I did like when the one donut went over by the where they were being like cooked, and he kept bouncing, and every time he bounced, another donut popped out. But I love the production all around. I mean, it was campy. It had just enough gore. It had just enough comedy. And I did forget to mention the fact that Michelle was being driven by her brother, who did in fact look like a lot older than her. So he could have almost been her dad.
Right?
But
you think so?
yeah, I think so. I mean, he had a full grown ass beard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't really thinking like. I was thinking these two were probably like 18 or something. I wasn't thinking of them as being that young. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're supposed to be younger. I don't.
Yeah, I think they're. I think he's supposed to be a younger dude, but
he's definitely out of high school. You can tell that.
Yeah, late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I didn't think they were all that young at all. So for him to have a full beard, it's like, what does that mean? Yeah, but he was probably a couple years older.
Yeah,
but he was a douche. I'll say that.
Yeah, he was a complete douche.
Yeah, because he was using her talented skills at the computer,
right,
for his shtick. So,
right, he was basically, if I understood correctly, he was billing himself as a computer repair person, an IT person, but he apparently didn't know any of it.
But in any case, I just get a kick out of the fact that they pulled it off, even though it is stupid. It's not stupid. It came off rather well. You almost wouldn't think that something like this could exist, and like it could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse. I mean, you could have just seen puppets being thrown at each other, and you could have seen the strings being pulled.
Now, and I just out of nowhere, I thought about this while watching it, and for some reason I forgot to mention another one. This reminded me of at a couple of points was Rubber. Because you got round things going around killing people, but
Rubber was pretty bad.
I enjoyed it. I still think
I love the microwave scene in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I was like, gremlins.
And I will say one other thing. I did also on this one. It had a completely different musical score from Windwalker, but I really liked the music in this one too.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it fit the vibe really well.
I dug the music, and I also like the little
Yeah.
donut song that they did at the end.
Yeah. Although Tubi
like
cut
the
it
Twitch.
off like 30 seconds into it. Yeah, so
I
annoying.
watched it from the disc, so I did not have to worry about that.
Yeah, I shut it off,
Mm.
so I didn't hear the music.
Well, I liked the title song for the film.
Rocked.
I thought it rocked. If I could put this one with Attack of the Killer Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I would. I would, because both.
My
are,
sister was talking about that movie earlier
Yeah.
today.
But I will admit, it is hard to beat the original Killer Tomatoes theme. That was just
Tag.
that's a camp. That's a camp classic.
Tomatoes.
Tomato.
I think theme songs in horror movies need to make a comeback. Like not just
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking like full on like rock songs.
I mean, shoot, the Blob, the 50s
Yeah.
Blob one was a very catchy song that felt nothing like the rest of the movie, but it was still fun.
I'm still pushing Hunter's Moon as a strong contender for the Versus Awards because I thought that was a pretty cool song. But it was one of the only things I really liked about Halloween Kills.
If I could get a copy of this song to put like on a mixed CD, I would love it. Just to have it with the Dickies. So, but in any case, let's go down with favorite scenes. So let's start with you, Dustin. If there was a favorite scene from this movie, what would you?
Well, I
take?
don't remember a lot of specifics, but I think when we first see the killer donuts like attack somebody, like that lady in like the red robe, who just gets jumped by the donuts. Like I think I liked that the most.
Okay. What about you, Tammy? If there was a favorite moment in here, what would you take from it?
I actually like the one that you just talked about with the little donut that just kept jumping on that button. And every time we jumped on the button, more of them would jump out and they're jumping out. I thought that was actually amusing because it seemed like he realized if he jumped on the button, more would jump. So he kept jumping on the little button and they kept coming out.
What about you, Forrest? If there was a favorite moment from this movie, what would you take from it?
I would have to agree with Dustin when Mrs. Scolari gets attacked. She's in her red robe and ready to get all kinky and shit, and she gets attacked.
What about you, Jake? If there was a favorite moment from this movie, what would it be?
Well, there's a few, and it's hard to pick one that really stands out as the number one. The scene with Miss Galore, mainly for the cat, amused me so much that they had an animatronic cat. The name that she gave it, it was so creepy and weird what she was obviously about to do before she was attacked. I found that really amusing, but I'm almost going to say probably the scene with the douche bro competitor might be my favorite, just partly because I couldn't not think of him as a runty Wahlberg. I don't know why. I just found that so amusing. But and Michelle having her her rather orgasmic taste of his, you could hear Stu go, "Oh, there's an orgy in my mouth." But he's like, the best part? $350 retail. And they were looking at him like, you'll never sell one. And he told them the business he had done already that day. We talked earlier about the kind of business they were doing. I like the look of sheer disbelief that he could have sold that many. I was kind of
which is why he
that.
Brought out that regular sugar donut that
yes.
he called it
douche nut.
Yes,
douche nut.
Yes, they gave him the douche nut, which was a regular. Yes.
He asked my
Oh.
dad to take it home though.
So
like,
overall,
yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah, I thought
They
that
said
was a
it
fun
tastes
scene.
like shit.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun scene overall. I don't know that I had a single one that would jump out, but I could probably do that.
Well, there was definitely a donut that jumped right up his ass. So,
Well, yeah. You know, he
Literally.
definitely was regretting that douche nut later. That's for sure.
Okay, so what about you, Mo? If you could take a favorite scene from this movie, what would it be? Okay. You there, Mo?
I don't think he is.
Okay.
Did you jump, Kroll?
What about Kroll? What about
He
you?
always jumps in.
If you could take a favorite scene from this movie, what would it be?
The douchebag in the car banging the blonde chick when the cop donut just nails him in the forehead, like I said, and it looks like a dildo on his forehead. The crawler. It's fucking. I just, like I said, just died laughing. That was the best scene.
Okay. What about you, Brandon? If you could take a favorite scene from this movie, what would it be?
I kind of like the little donut party that they were having when they were at the donut shop, and they just it looked like all the donuts were dancing and just having a beach party.
Okay. Is that pretty much it then?
Oh, that's my scene.
Alrighty, and I have so many favorites in this one. Because once you started from the donut that jumped on the button and the donuts jumping out of the thing to the donut stealing the cop car. To the donuts fucking with the three bully dudes. I mean, just the fact that you could see them rolling down the street, and whatnot. It was just priceless. I mean, the fact that they could actually do this and pull it off where it actually looked somewhat real. That it could actually, in fact, happen. You know, it was cool. But I do tend to favor the lady and her scene where she's all sexed up to like almost like have sex with the donuts. But in any case, moving forwards, is there anything else that anyone wants to say about the film? Alrighty.
I think this is definitely one of the. Well, I think this is definitely. It's one of the most fun, like schlocky B movies I've seen in the last.
Yes.
Over the last from the last decade. I think it's definitely going to be. I think it's definitely definitely going to be a late night cult classic. Like actually, I wish that I feel like this is something I don't know if the production values are up to stuff, but I feel like this is something that that Joe Bob Briggs could discuss on the could show on the last drive-in, and he'd probably have a field day with the drive-in totals for this.
I could see
or if you stay up all night was still going, I think it'd be a great fit there too.
Or definitely a riff tracks or something like
Yes.
that, But in any case, hopefully you ladies and gentlemen out there listening have had fun listening to our discussion on this film. I had a blast because this was one of my birthday picks. hopefully, you can let us know down in the comments whether you thought whether the film was good or not. But hopefully, we'll be able to bring you back next week because we'll have more in store for you. And watch out for that next cream-filled donut that you might be eating because it might want to eat you. So
I feel like for the outros we should all find, since we've done like in the past we've done like favorite candies, favorite board games. How about like favorite donuts?
There you go.
Good plan.
Definitely. All right. So, Dustin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and your favorite donut if you have one?
I think he said to skip the outro for him.
He did.
Okay. Then, Tammy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your favorite donut?
I like ones with the cream, like a chocolate one with the Bavarian cream inside.
Okay.
Good one.
And let's see, I go on here and I go on another one and talk about movies. And I collect my own movies. And I'm David's fiance, which Friday will be 14 years. Yay!
Ooh.
Happy anniversary.
15 years.
And then
Indeed.
now that it's summer, I take out my 1972 Grand Prix and have fun.
Alrighty. Heading over to you, Forrest. Favorite donut, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
All right. My name is Forrest Bennett. My favorite donut is old-fashioned glaze. So like the cake, like the glazed cake donuts. Those are my favorites.
Mhm.
I'm also an independent film producer and sometimes actor based in Long Island, New York. I've always got something going on. I'm also you can also catch me on a show here based in New York called Under the Radar, where we review newer movies and TV shows. I'm also on a podcast called Nostalgia Time with Kid Champagne, where we discuss 80s and 90s discuss 80s and 90s pop culture, and also you can also follow me on Instagram under My Name Is Not Gump, where I do comic book pickups. My own YouTube channel, Forrest B. Bennett, where I've got all kinds of stuff filmed, stuff I filmed around like New York City and movie pickups. I've always got something going on in the pipeline.
Alrighty, let's go over to you, Jake. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what is your favorite donut?
Well, I, unsurprisingly, perhaps, I don't really know that I have a number one, but to prepare for tonight's show, I went to a local eatery that makes really great donuts, and I got a red velvet cake donut and a sour cream cake and an apple ugly and a maple bacon donut, and all of those are excellent donuts.
Oh man, I'm hungry.
And probably among my favorites, although there's an eatery in North Carolina in Hatteras called Apple Blossom Cafe that makes famous apple uglies, and they're even better than the one I had today. So that's some stuff there. But on the other hand, I am the co-host of SeptumSin versus World, where we talk about all kinds of physical media, and I'll leave it to Brandon to give you more input on the channel itself, although we are working toward looking forward to a discussion next week on Puella Meija Madoka Magica, which is an excellent anime. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're working on compiling a list of the best anime openers, which we'll be discussing soon. At least a few of us. We'd like to have Dave, but for some reason he doesn't believe they exist. So we'll Meanwhile,
they exist, but I just haven't found one that I particularly like. That's all. But I
one
do
day
have
you
fun
will have that moment where you're like,
I-
they do exist.
I do have fun heckling you though.
But anyway, and we have fun heckling you, so it works. I am also very busy most of the time because I've got one full-time job and a nursery that I co-founded that takes up a lot of time as well. And I too dabble in producing. I've got a couple Kickstarter projects I've thrown money into, and yeah, it keeps me all pretty busy most of the time, but I still like to set some time aside to join these fine folks. I missed Salo. It made me sad, but I had a relative that passed, and there was no way I was watching that movie under those circumstances. So
I'm sorry you
Sorry
lost
that-
the relative,
sorry that
but
had
you dodged
happened.
the bullet.
that is the way it goes sometimes. Unfortunately, but we had a nice little road trip yesterday to go say our goodbyes, and so that was good. And I think there was one more thing I was going to say, but must not have been that important, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Heading over to you, Kroll. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and what is your favorite donut if you had one?
I do. Boston cream all day, every day. I love Boston cream donuts. I was able to get, I think, a little over half a dozen Boston cream donuts. I wanted a dozen, but they're just so popular. Sometimes you're lucky to get one or two. I happened to go really early and was able to get, I think it was a little over a dozen, half dozen. Because those sell out immediately, at least around here. So I think there's a lot of people that have the Boston cream. Oh, that red velvet he talked about. That sounds pretty good. I've
Yeah.
never had that or heard of it, but it sounds good. So maple bacon. Not sure. Not sure how that would taste. How I would like it or not.
It was basically a basic ring glazed donut with maple frosting and bits of bacon, like actual, in this case, actual strips of bacon, but sometimes it's bits.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd like it or not. Sounds like I might, but yeah, I've never heard of it. I've never had it, so I don't know. But Boston cream is definitely my favorite as far as donuts I've had and love. So, and I'm disabled, so I don't work, but I watch TV, I play video games, I read books. I come on this podcast, and I come on the other podcast on Sunday with Dave and his fiance and the guy Philip, and talk about movies. And I've always loved watching movies. I love talking about movies, and it's great that we really go in depth in the movies. And Jake, you dodged a bullet last week. Trust me, you dodged a big bullet.
So I've heard.
Big
So
bullet.
I've heard.
I would rather watch anything,
guess-
anything multiple times than that movie.
I guess when we do the inevitable revisit for the 10-year anniversary, maybe
I will
then I'll
not
see.
be watching that.
No.
I will not be watching. No one. You'll be by yourself. You'll be by yourself.
Trust me, if we do the 10-year anniversary, we're going to do the next two that we did.
Okay.
Yeah, Serbian film. That's much better.
Everybody said that no to watching that movie again, and I feel like no matter what movie is put in front of us again, I could tolerate it because I've made it through Silo. So,
All right.
I don't know, I thought a Serbian film was actually kind of funny because it was so extreme. It was just silly. Like it just came off as ridiculous to me. But anyway, I'm the Crypt of Horrors. Check out my YouTube channel, The Crypt of Horrors, and my Instagram of the same name. I collect horror movie stuff, and I show it off whenever I have the opportunity.
And if you had a favorite donut, what would it be?
How should I know what they're called? The tan ones, I guess. I don't know.
You mean a plain donut?
Yeah, sure.
Plain donut's a great one to heat it up. I do enjoy them heated up. I'm not my favorite, but
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a basic Krispy Kreme that's been in the microwave for what, about 10 seconds, I guess?
that's what I was thinking with the plain donut. Like
Shoot,
5
or a
seconds.
Krispy Kreme if it's been like if you got the sign on and they just took it out of the.
Right, yeah.
Or a killer cream.
This.
So I got my name, Killer Cream.
What about you, Brandon? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what is your favorite donut if you could choose one?
Well, I'm SeptumSin, a SeptumSin versus the world. We love physical media there. I like a good iced Long John donut with the buttercream filling. We used to get those all the time back in the day before the shop that made the good ones stopped.
They had a powdered sugar one with the buttercream that was like crack, and I miss it so much.
Dunkin' Donuts had triple chocolate for a while. That was really good too.
So, of course, we do pickups mostly. I've been busy at work trying to actually directly produce a film called the Shackled Demon Project. You'll hear that name a lot lately as we get closer and closer to being done. Matter of fact, as we talk, another copy is being burned as we speak because it takes about 4 hours per copy. Also, we've got actually, Jake has already talked about Versus Awards and our upcoming anime discussion, but I also have an upcoming a movie review, our fourth psychoanalysis, which is on the film Horror Tales 666 Part 1 by Phil Herman. So it's going to be fun. We're going to cover that one and eventually the second one, but I did get the first one done and I'm getting started on that second one. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Alrighty, and my name is David Streggy. I'm one of the founding fathers of Inside Movies Galore. So thank you for coming along with us on this birthday journey that I've taken y'all on. I appreciate all of you for being with us for so long. But at the end of everything, you know that I love you guys. But we do love to talk about films of all genres, and hopefully you have enjoyed our selection of movies that we've had in store for you. But I also moonlight under a different channel called Delusions of Grandeur, where I also do go on a podcast doing something very similar with Boris, my good friend Kroll here, and my fiance, where we have fun and discussing films. Also enjoy going on and showing you what I picked up, and sometimes I grace people with thoughts of my own about films that I like or dislike. So check out the channel if you can.
I did forget to mention what we're doing next Sunday.
Go ahead. What are we doing next Sunday?
We are doing one of my picks, and that is Pulp Fiction.
Cool.
Great movie. Lots of great one-liners, I think.
That is a tasty burger.
Awesome cast. That is a tasty burger. So join us for that. That'll be some fun discussion.
And hopefully we'll have another batch of films next month that maybe I'll show up and have a gander at listening and letting us know what you think about these various films that we go on about. So Thank you so much. Everyone say good night.
Oh well, let's
Good
not
night,
forget
everyone.
next
Oh,
week's
night.
stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, don't forget that.
So next week is actually going to be my
Mo.
birthday submission. Actually, Mo, are you there to do an outro?
I don't think he's there, but maybe if you want to just toss his thing out there.
Well, yeah, he's
Retro
Mo
Cult.
actually. Yeah, Retro Cult. For his, of course, there's also a new one of his called Schlockaholics, which is one that's been active recently. We recorded a couple things for that. It's going to be fun. We're working towards also discussing Axe Grinder. It's Retro Cult home video for his other channel. So we've got some fun stuff, and he and I are
Also,
hopefully going to be on for Bad Ben next week.
Well, also on his channel, there's that monthly Ghibli discussion where I referenced earlier the Kiki's Delivery Service. But we've got that. We got Only Yesterday coming up.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be this week or not. We'll figure that out. But we're working towards something.
Mm-hmm.
But next week is going to be actually in conjunction with my channel, where we're covering the series Puella Magi Mariko Magica, and we're going to on this channel cover the two movies which cover the storyline of that series, Beginnings and Eternal. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of magic girl fun, a lot of happy go lucky stuff. But we've got some fun stuff, and with luck, we'll actually have Brittany and Roger joining us next week as well, which will be fun. So, all cool stuff.
Alrighty. Everyone say good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.